This is episode 67 of the SteadyTrade podcast with your hosts, Tim Bowen.
Everybody wants to know, how do you interpret news, how do you interpret press releases? Coca-Cola is named in that press release,
right,
so that spreads.
And Stephen Johnson.
If I do it, I've got to do the whole thing.
Okay, all right, go for it.
All right, can I get a count?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Today, the guys talk about how to prepare for hot sectors like cannabis stocks. Now, this episode was recorded in front of a live audience at Tim Sykes' Trader and Investor Summit in Orlando, Florida. And yes, the guys did play an audience interactive drinking game.
Ducks can't give me this, Gratani can't give me this. They can't give me discipline. Are you serious? Is that one of the words?
And Stephen chugged 8 beers in 45 minutes, but that didn't stop him from proclaiming riveting declarations like this.
And if you just focus on something small and do it when it comes, then you can be the master of that. And maybe in 10 years you'll be the master of the rest. But until you get profitable, just be the master of one thing. And that's me Jesus speech.
How ironic is it that his best monologue, 14 months of this podcast, is 6 beers deep? That was awesome. I mean, give him a hand of applause, man.
And he may or may not have found true love.
If I can just find one girl to kiss, then that maybe I'm a little bit drunk. But if I can find one girl to kiss,
It was a lot of fun to do this live, and we hope you enjoy the recording as well.
So, we are going to do a live episode of the SteadyTrade podcast. We've got a few topics to discuss, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end. But I've been a little busy the last couple days, so I don't even know what the agenda is. So I need to bring up Glenn to give me. I'm a good little soldier. I just follow instructions. So, Glenn, what are we doing today?
Hey, everybody. Hi, my name is Glenn. I am the producer of the SteadyTrade podcast. Sometimes they talk about me, but they never mention me by name, which is just fine.
It's all part of that witness protection program.
That's right. It is the witness protection. It will be. So I just want to say a few words before we start today's live recording of the SteadyTrade podcast. First of all, I want to tell a little story. When I first started working with these guys, I started noticing some things that they would say repeatedly that were, I won't use the word annoying, but just repetitive. So maybe some of you who listen to the SteadyTrade podcast, well, actually, how many of you listen to the SteadyTrade podcast? Can I see?
Nice. Awesome.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thank you. But
we've got at least 400 listeners worldwide.
There are dozens and dozens of people that already listen. So Tim would use the word ironic a lot, and not in the right way. And so there was an episode early on in the SteadyTrade podcast where I inserted a little voice that said, every time Tim says ironic, take a drink, unless of course you're driving. And it cured him. You will not hear him say ironic anymore. That did the job.
Shame works with me.
Now there's still a few more Bowenisms that I kind of need to burn out of him, and so I'd like to get your help today. Could I get 3 people to raise your hand and volunteer? All right, you right here, you in the back in the blue shirt, yeah, that's pointing to yourself, and somebody over here, you right there. Yeah, if you could come up, I've got a piece of paper for you. I didn't want to announce these out loud, right? Here. I'll just hand this to you. And share this with the people that are sitting around you. There's about 9 things on here that Tim Bowen does all the time that drive me. Yeah, 9. I limited the list. We don't have all day.
1 or 2.
Where's our other guy in the back? Oh, you're over here. All right. So what I need you guys to do, we're going to do kind of the same thing that we did with that episode. There's 9 things on here. If you catch Tim saying any of those 9 things, I need you to yell, drink! So share it with the people around you so that we've got a lot of people monitoring this. Can I hear you practice it? Drink! Okay, great. And then what's going to happen when we hear drink, Stephen Johnson, who is very fond of the drink, will take a drink.
I've just got a question. Who wants to see Jeevan get fucked up? Can I get a Jeevan get fucked up?
Yeah. All right, so that's what we're doing today on the SteadyTrade podcast. And then one other thing, there are also Stevenisms. We're not really going to focus on that today, but if you listen to the podcast, you will know that Steven is always desperately looking for a girlfriend. If he throws out the bait, please do not accept it. Just let it lie. That's my public
I'm not going to do that.
announcement.
I'm not going to do that unless I've had like 8 beers.
All right. So, take it away, guys.
All right.
And today you're going to be talking about how to take advantage of hot sectors like we're seeing with the cannabis stocks
Okay.
right now.
Yep.
That's the topic. Go.
All right, so again, we're going to kind of talk about what we're looking at really tomorrow. This is a little bit of Steven's and my and everybody's preparation for tomorrow and why we focus on this. And I was in and out a little bit during Crook's presentation, but I like how what I did catch was very in line with what we're going to talk about today.
It's almost ironical.
It is almost ironic.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, drink though. I just said it too. I repeated it back to you. So.
All right, give us a countdown. Can I have a countdown from people? Because this is a big can. Can we go like 3, 2, 1?
You look how much he's shaking. He's got the DTs, man. I think you need to pound a few more of those, I think. So back to Mark Cook's presentation, something that I really noticed was focusing on the hot sector. I mean, in penny stocks, in low price stocks, there's these seasons. They actually quite frequently follow the seasons because we've got, you look back to last fall when we had the crypto mania, the blockchain mania. These are the times when you got to make hay when the sun shines, and those are the times, especially with a small account as a beginning trader, you make your nut during those hot periods.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, I've always been way more short biased, and if we move on to kind of the weed sector right now, like the weed sector is such a struggle for short sellers, for the fact that you kind of can't get the borrows. So the only way, the best way for people with small accounts that I've found is to play them on the way up. But it's kind of what's the best strategy? Well, what's the best strategy to play these on the way up? And first of all, how do you even identify these sectors?
I think that goes back to what we talk about, doing that watch list every day. If you're showing up every day, building a watch list, looking at those top percent gainers, I think Crook mentioned this as well, it becomes pretty readily apparent to you when you're looking at the top gainers and it's NBEV. Okay, you go to whether it be Yahoo Finance or StocksToTrade, you see what industry they're in. Oh, okay. You go to their webpage, they're making cannabis drinks. It starts becoming pretty readily apparent. There's no real mystery to locating a hot sector. You just got to be there every day.
Yeah, and I mean, one very easy tip is just jump on Twitter and type in the name, and generally there's a stream of tweets that are going to say, oh, these are all the weed stocks, because people like to help each other. But then when you've found that, it's like say there's 10 weed stocks, 15 weed stocks, how are you going to find the right one to play on that day? How are you going to take advantage of this sector momentum?
That's where I talk about building the case. That's the biggest.
That must be one.
It's got to be.
That's got to be
on
one.
the list?
I've
Drink
heard
anyway. Drink.
I've heard you say that too many times.
Drink. It's good. Close enough. It's been 5 minutes. We got 8 minutes.
Right, I was planning on doing 4 in the first 5 minutes, and I'm going to down 2. So.
Well, you don't have to down the whole thing. Just take it.
No, if I do it, I've got to do the whole thing.
Okay, all right, go for it.
All right, can I get a count?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
So while Steven drinks, what I'm looking for in a weed sector, in a hot sector, is. Good job, man. What I want, and back to that build the case, and I won't let you drink again, or make you drink again, because I'm repeating myself.
Feel a little bit sick.
What you want to do is you look for the stuff that we're all looking for. Obviously, you want something that finishes strong on the day. One of my favorites for tomorrow is ACBFF. I mean, I know everybody's pretty hot on IGC as well, but if I remember right, IGC closed kind of shitty on the day. But what I loved about ACBFF is, I don't remember the exact float, but if I remember right, it's pretty low float. It held its gain. It gapped up early in the morning, held its gains all day. It was above VWAP all day, and Why am I so hot on ACBFF? It's because they're the ones that Coke is, Coca-Cola was named in the press release. So to me, the market leader was TLRY, because TLRY was the one that, Andrew Left, good buddy of mine, bagged everybody short on. And then a TLRY went from 100 to 300, back to 100, back to 150. So it's no longer the market leader. To me, ACBFF is because of the fact, everybody wants to know how do you interpret news, how do you interpret press releases. Coca-Cola is named in that press release,
right,
so that spreads.
And this, like Coca-Cola taking an interest in a cannabis-infused drink, which I wouldn't mind one right now. Right?
I think this one's cannabis infused.
I wouldn't mind one right now if anyone's got any, or just weed in general. I don't know if I'm allowed to say these things. But
you're a foreigner. You've got immunity. So.
But I would definitely say, like, for what you've described, as you've said, like, the catalyst has got to be solid. But, like, if you've gone over, like, the psych sliding scale or trader checklist, which we did the whole SteadyTrade series on, like, it is, like, so ridiculously important to look at the other indicators. So, like, what stocks have run before? What stocks have, like, had 5 green days in a row? Because if they've had 5 green days in a row on maybe 300, 400, 500,000 volume, I'm slurring words already, 400, 500, 600,000 volume on that day, then imagine it has its first green day a couple of months later on 1 million volume.
Yep.
Then you're like, even more people are interested. It's already had the 5 green days. The sector's hot. It's highly likely that you're going to have that run.
Yeah, and nothing is guaranteed. That doesn't mean your stock out of the 10 cannabis stocks becomes the stock. But you want to line up as many things as you can to put the odds in your favor. You ultimately have a stop loss. You have a plan. You put all these things in place. But I just say the biggest thing people struggle with is not building that process. And you saw that notebook during my presentation. I mean, that guy filled out sheets over and over and over again. Yeah. And I look at trades just like Trader Checklist that we did. If you're like, there's 3 out of 10 criteria on this stock that I like, don't fucking trade. It's like over trading will burn you every time.
And this was the absolute epicence of a riveting.
Epicence?
It's the epicence. This is the epicence of a riveting. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I'm
Somebody, what's one of the isms?
Took over.
Somebody, what's one of my isms? What do I got to say? Do you make it?
No, don't make us drink anymore.
What?
I still feel sick. I feel sick.
Oh, you're fine.
If you want to do a riveting podcast, if it's going to be truly riveting, then we need to take it easy. Because if I'm like this, you're talking on
That's
your own.
That's the best case scenario for me.
You're talking on your own, and then it's just a Tim Bone webinar, which is probably better. But what were we talking about?
You tell me.
I don't really know.
You were stalling. I could tell. You were trying to remember
here.
what you were talking about, and you were stalling. So.
Yeah, I really don't know.
You were talking about what made stuff kind of click for you. So if you've been a watcher or listener of the podcast, Stephen kind of found consistency. Then he kept dashing himself in the rocks, driving his bicycle off the cliff. And,
Can I repeat this story?
Yes.
Can I just take this moment to address 700 people here? Because it's not often I'm going to feel like a presidential candidate. All right?
You're very presidential, by the way.
With some beers. One really important thing is I forgot what I was going to say again.
Jesus.
No, it was like the most important thing as well. But I'll tell you something else that's quite important. Right? I forgot. I had like this epic speech planned. Oh no! I remember.
We'll wait.
Guys, taking losses, we've all took them. We've all took bad losses. We've all not cut the loss that we wanted to. We've all bag held. Whether you're on the short side and you've got caught in the squeeze and you're thinking it can't go higher, fucking goes higher.
It always does.
You think it can't go lower. It's a penny stock manipulated. It can go to 0. I'd like to take this moment to really, really, really share an analogy with you guys in the hope that, and some podcast followers will have heard it, but I'd like to share a story with you about how my $5,000 loss made me feel. And I was profitable last year, and then I got overconfident and fucked it up by having too much confidence and taking too much position size. And I took a $5,000 loss, and I didn't just take it in front of me, I took it in front of all of you as well.
Which
on the
respect
internet
for that.
and
Respect
more.
for that. Yep.
But I just want to say that taking a $5,000 loss feels something like imagine you're riding a bike, all right? It's a BMX. You're in a hilly terrain. The terrain, suddenly your bike slips and you fall into some broken glass, all right? And some of that glass goes into your mouth, and you're chewing on that glass, right? And then you fall off a cliff with broken glass in your mouth, right, into your house, where your wife's another guy in the room. Right? That's how taking a $5,000 loss feels, okay? That's how taking a $5,000 loss feels. So please, cut your losses. Cut your losses, okay?
So I think I know one of them. So I say this all the time.
How is that? Oh, you do say it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
But I call it the rule of the rule of 5 analogy. You know.
Hang on a second. This is gonna be tough.
I've got faith in
Give
you.
us a countdown from 5. From 5. Because I'm gonna be sick on the table. All right, from 3. 3.
What the hell are you drinking?
Rome City IPA. So while Steven recovers, we'll talk about the rule of 5. And, you know, it really explains that perfectly because when you talk about taking small losses, if you lose $100 a day for 4 days and you make $500 on Friday, you're a 20% winner, but you're still green on the week. And that math just never works if you take that $5,000 loss. And you've got to dig yourself back out of that hole. I mean, how long did it take you to get back from the 5K?
I don't know.
Long time.
No, let us talk about it. I just feel like I'm going to be sick. Yeah, I mean, like my story was traded like for you guys in my experience. Like you've got Dux, you've got Gratani, you've got Roland. These guys will nail it in a year because they're just Superman, Marvel heroes of the universe, right? But for a lot of the average people, and for a lot of like the guys who are just like me and just like you, you're not going to hit it in a year. You may not hit it in 2. You may not hit it in 3. So you've really, really got to have patience, trust your education, and try and track as much as possible, and just cut your losses.
Mm-hmm. So. And I think, you know, there's nothing that is more, you know, you've heard Sykes say it a million times, but there's nothing that's more true than that one rule. Yeah. Oh, did I? Oh.
You are not serious.
I didn't do it on purpose, but you got to drink. That's the rules, man. Sorry. So.
All right, I'm going to give a can. Can someone take a can for us? Yeah, I got you. Get someone up for a can. I'll do the next one.
You can sip it. You don't have to chug it.
I'll help you. Get your bark back.
Is this an IPA? No, it's not.
3, 2, 1. And for sure, I've got the next one. But if you say something wrong, you're having one of them as well.
No. I'm supposed to be the good example here. So I'm trying to be a positive role model.
He's like the dad I never had.
Yes. I try. You know, every day I try and I fail, but you know what? I keep trying. I won't give up on you.
Every time I take a bad trade, I'm like, you, Dad. This is your fault for hitting us with a slipper when I was 6.
So that's kind of the main agenda for tomorrow. You know, we're going to be talking about a lot of these stocks, but really, when there's a hot sector, that's when you got to bear down. You got to lock yourself in the house and trade these stocks and avoid the slow times. Avoid when there isn't something like this. I mean, most of you, I'm willing to bet the majority of you have a job, you have school, you have businesses, whatever. You're not here to trade every single day. That is not the recipe to success. You will get convinced of that. You think that more is better, and you think if I make one trade and make 500, that means if I make 10 trades, I make $5,000. You're new, you're learning, you focus on the hot sector, and that is all you trade. Tomorrow, if you're looking at, in my opinion, if you're looking at a biotech or a retail stock or an oil stock, you're foolish. You got to focus on these cannabis stocks.
And the other thing that's just so prominent that came from a SteadyTrade interview was when Roland said, I mean, the market was very volatile. It gave a lot of opportunities last year. It was really receptive to us retailers. But this year, I find it's been a little bit different, and maybe you felt it, maybe I've felt it. But the point that it brings across is when Roland said to me in a SteadyTrade interview, I trade 3 times a week max. 3 times a week. Because there's no great opportunities.
What are you doing trading 5, 6 times? Where are you complaining about being under the PDT when somebody like Roland's trading?
Roland's doing 3, and he's a pro.
Yep.
And obviously, when the sectors heat up, when weed heats up, when the shipping sector heats up, then shoot it like a rifle. Get that AK-47 and fire those bullets at those trades. But when the market's quiet, spend your time studying. I mean, like you all, a lot of you guys know my story. My biggest discipline is last year. Are you serious?
Yeah, sounds good to me. They called you out.
What did I say? This is insane.
No, that's the rules, man. You gonna break the rules? That's like not cutting a loss,
I don't
man.
even know, well, and I don't do that enough.
You got to drink.
All right, 3.
Get some! And keep in mind, these aren't like, I don't know if you should respect him or not, but this isn't like Busch Light with like 1% alcohol. These are like 5-6% alcohol.
Yeah.
But that's the Englishman thing, right? This is just an average afternoon in England, right?
I mean, honestly, I feel a little bit pregnant.
You look a little pregnant. But,
I feel a little bit pregnant. Your hair's on the bad side, my belly's on the big side. But we're both brothers.
Yes.
I will see you the dad I never had.
So, finish your story. Yes, sorry. Thank you.
What's the story?
Remind him.
What's the story? Okay, that's a really important story as well. If I can get through it. and if I can get through it, then I'll do like this comedy sketch at the end. I've got some jokes.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
Do you have any good jokes?
Nah, I can't say them.
Okay.
All right, but so my process was, and we kind of did it in the Star Wars trilogy of SteadyTrade, was I was like I was making good money, and I was down $7,000 learning, and I ended up being up a couple of grand, so I made $9,000 over 8 months. And I really just hit form. The market was good, my setups were working, and then all of a sudden something changed, and the market changes, and Roland said that in his presentation. Michael Hudson said it in his presentation. You've not got to be just looking at like what a sector is doing. You've got to look at the macro elements. And if you look at Trader Checklist, Alex21 covers this as well in his DVD. And that's the mistake I made, which cost me to go from a profitable trader to a losing trader. I was like so caught up in the momentum of making all of this money and my patterns working all of the time that when the market changed, I couldn't adapt. Because I was like, this works all the time. Why is it stopped? So I'll just keep on throwing the same system and the same formula, and I'm getting completely different results instead. I'm getting really red results instead of green. One day I got too frustrated, and I took a $5,000 loss. And since I took that $5,000 loss, then I took another $5,000 loss. And then I went from a profitable trader to a losing trader. And then that was really tough. And it's been a 3 to 4 month really difficult thing to get out of. And the only thing that did it for me was kind of introspection. And I thought, like, how do I make trading fun again? Because I don't like it because I'm losing. Mm-hmm. So I was like...
And I've been there. We've been there. I mean, I've thought about quitting I don't know how many times. Yep.
But there's such a thing as like working 20 hours a day, working 22 hours a day, study 23 hours a day, do everything. But like I was like working a 9 till 5, trading like 6 till 10, doing videos 12 till 2, I was working every hour in the day, and I think what happened with me is I just got so burnt out that I started not liking trading. Because I didn't like trading, I was thinking, I just want to win to feel good. And when you
I feel like this is part of my poor parenting.
I feel like
I feel like it's daddy issues.
I feel like you're my psychiatrist. I feel like you guys are my psychiatrists. But like, I started trading for the wrong reasons. I started trading because I was sick of trading. I was not sick of doing the podcast, but sick of the volume of work that I'd put on myself. So I didn't like trading. So I was thinking, I just want to take any trade and make myself happy. And then when you've got that mentality and you've got that mood, you are not going to be a successful trader. Someone said to me, for all of you guys who are not professional traders, you're not making a lot of money, you guys are account builders. Your sole purpose is to build your account. You're not traders yet. You're not qualified to be traders. Traders take random chances. They do what Roland does and find these random moments and
take your time.
And traders, like, they'll kill the market left, right, and center, and there's like 1 or 2% of them in the market. I think all of us, including me, we're account builders. We wait for the sole opportunity when we have the opportunity to build our account 1, 2, 3%, and we'll build our account. But we're not jumping here and jumping there and jumping here and trying to learn everything at once, because a jack of all trades is a trader of one?
Master of none.
Is a master of none. That was like the epic moment in the whole thing, and I ruined it. But you guys get the point, though, like, and that's why I always try and give the advice. And I know I'm not a winning trader. I know I was profitable, and now I'm not. But for any of you guys learning, I strongly, strongly, strongly advocate, if you're part-time traders, if you've got the morning free, look at the first hour of the day and study it over and over and over. And if you're an evening trader, look at what's gapping the next day and look at that time frame over and over and over again, because you're never going to be a professional trader that understands every hour of the market. You need to start small, focus, narrow in on a single time period, and master that, because there's too many clever people, institutions, retailers who are going to rape your money from you. And if you just focus on something small and do it when it comes, then you can't be the master of that. And maybe in 10 years, you'll be the master of the rest. But until you get profitable, just be the master of one thing. And that's me Jesus speech.
How ironic is it that his best monologue, 14 months of this podcast, is 6 beers deep? That was awesome. I mean, give him a hand of applause, man. You know, something we do here, and I think is very important, is we've got the veterans. As I see Michael Good's ravishing, flowing locks back there.
Michael Good.
You know, we've got the veterans, you know, whether it be Sykes with 20 years or Good with 15 or me with 10 or Grattani with 8 or, you know, or whatever. I appreciate it, man. That was awesome. I think I mean, to have, you know, Stephen had his ups and downs, but he's still, 14, 15 months into this journey. He's a new trader, but I think that was some of the best stuff of the weekend so far, man. Nice work.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Now let's smoke some weed.
All right, so give Stephen another round of applause. I thought that was great. So I was just told about this thing, which I think is pretty cool. So this is actually a microphone. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some Q&A. And so basically, I'm going to chuck this to somebody. I guess you could talk into it. You can ask a question, get Stephen to drink, and then when you're done with your question, chuck it to somebody near you.
I'm probably not going to leave until these 3 are done.
That's fine. We got plenty of time.
Okay.
So,
I'm serious.
So who wants to start?
Like Tim Grattani can wait.
Whoop. You? All right. Look out. It might not make it.
Hello.
Yep.
What do you have to say?
Oh, I thought you had a question.
I didn't catch you.
Give it to someone with a question.
All right.
What did you volunteer for? He's like, hey, I don't know what it is, but I want it. Is it free? What did I get?
So you said that you had a $95,000 loss?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. So sorry. All right.
Dude, if I had a $95,000 loss, I wouldn't be alive right now.
All right. I probably didn't hear why you lost it, but can you please explain again what was going through your mind when you was losing?
Absolutely. I mean, what was going through my mind when I was losing, and like you explain it quite well as well, there's a scientific research study where when people consistently win, what's the name of it?
I can never remember it, but
There's a scientific study with traders that when they consistently win and develop good habits, they develop an ego and arrogance, and I've already got it a little bit.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like that.
Or just stop being a Johnson. But like, you just want to think that you're better, and you like, when you're winning, like I got to the point where I was having 1,000 weeks, and I thought I'd made it, and I thought like, this is me, I'm set for life. Like, did the challenge, got some good information. Did StocksToTrade Pro, learned a bit. Did a lot of Excel, research myself, found the magic formula. And then the next thing I knew, one trade didn't go against us, and I didn't want to cut it because I'm so used to winning. And then it goes a bit further against us, then I leave it for the weekend, and this is such a valuable lesson as well. And then I let it go on to Monday, which is Money Monday. Money Monday, when all the longs love to invest the cash. And I got squeezed out horrendously, and I should have took a $2,000 loss, and I took a $5,000 loss. And the lesson is, if you're ever down in a short, two lessons. If you short, like say a stock spikes in the morning, and you think, this is a short. If you short it and it goes on to break high of day, longs are buying that high of day break, shorts are covering that high of day break, and you're going to get squeezed like a bitch. Okay, it's going to be like that. You've just saw your husband cheating on you, and you're all punching each other, and you've got glass in your mouth. It's a lesser version of that. It's like a light version of that, like the yogurts. But like, so you've really got to cut those, and like I'm not perfect, I don't do it. That's what makes Roland better than me and Gratani. Like, they can cut them. Right now I'm learning to cut them. But if you hold that longer and you decide to hold it another day, you can put yourself in a perilous, like we're talking like Harry Potter versus, who's the guy? Like Gollum or something?
Gollum? That's Lord of the Rings, but
I'm mixing trilogies.
But he makes a great point.
Just like the devil, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
you're in trouble.
Especially, I know that short selling is attractive to a lot of you, but I mean, if you're not cutting that loser, especially if you're holding another day, I can tell you it never gets better. It never gets better.
Never.
And especially with weekend holds, this goes for longs or shorts. I mean, never hold a loser over the weekend.
Never.
It fucks you up for Monday.
Never.
It screws up your weekend, and it always gets worse. It will always, it will always stop you out and then end up going your direction. And you could have just went to cash over the weekend and reattacked on Monday.
And gone to Orlando and went to Universal Studios and saw The Simpsons, right? With not a worry.
Exactly. Yep.
With not a worry.
Next question. Who wants it?
Hello, Jeevan. I have a quick question for you. We all know that you are a very hard worker. You do the Steady podcast. You talk to Roland Wolf, Tim Gratani, Tim Bowen. You do all these crazy spreadsheets, which takes a lot of time. I think that you lack on discipline today, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing today to fix your discipline?
Drinking. That's, hey.
Just getting fucked up.
So what are you doing today to fix a discipline that maybe us new traders are going through it, but we don't realize it just yet? So how are you fixing your mistakes today by just talking to Tim Gratani, Roland Wolf, Tim Bowen, and everybody? So,
dude, that is such a brilliant question. And it's very easy to answer. And it's a little bit introspective. Like, I did a year of the challenge. I do StocksToTrade Pro because of the podcast. But I found that within a year of the challenge, maybe in a few months of StocksToTrade Pro combined, and with doing the spreadsheets, like, after doing the 10-hour study days, like, my shit was down. My strategy was down. My formula was down. I'd been given the basics to escalate and move forward. But what I hadn't been given, and what sometimes people can't give you, and Roland can't give me this, Dux can't give me this, Gratani can't give me this, they can't give me discipline. Are you serious? Is that one of the words? right, but if I don't remember the second half of the
No,
story,
I'll
it's
let you
all
pick
of
it
your
up.
fault.
All right,
3.
go. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. 98.
I'm not clearing these up.
That's fine, yep.
What was the other half of the story?
Discipline. So ultimately you made a great point that, yeah, we'll let him slide on that one.
That has to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
literally-
That was too quick, yep. You
Yeah.
mentioned that Grattani can't give you this, Sykes can't give you this, I can't give you
like,
this.
The guys on the challenge and on pro, they'll tell you like the formulas, they'll tell you the patterns, they'll tell you how to find the patterns, they'll tell you how to look at data to find the patterns. And Trading Tickers, Tim Grattani, that was the DVD on Excel that made me learn how to create my own patterns and how to find the edge. But once you find the edge, that's 50% of your journey. And the other 50% is half. And you might think that you've got discipline now, but you wait until...
Let him finish his story.
Nah,
Finish.
Let's get one more guy up. Come up, one more guy.
No, just finish your story.
Give him a 3, 2, 1, and then I'm discipline free after this. I'm mentioning it because I have to.
3, 2, 1, go! I appreciate the surrogates for Steven. Yeah.
This is not easy.
I did. I've done 6 of them. I'm dead.
Well, yeah, I didn't. I just thought you were drinking. I didn't know we were chugging them. So I would have got you Bush Lights or something.
I'm functioning off. But like, no other trader can fix your discipline, and it all comes down to the introspection of sitting down at the computer every morning and thinking, why am I trading? Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're going through a rough time or you're not feeling very happy or life's not going well, and you sit down to trade and you think, I want to make some money to make myself feel better today. Yeah. You're not going to follow the processes to get the right end result. And that's what goes back to the account builder phase and not being a trader. Like, everyone wants to be a trader because it's super cool, and you see Grattani and you see Doc's like, wow, he's a trader. Isn't he a cool trader? Like, I want to be a trader. But guys, like, we're not that yet. They're that, but we're not that yet. We're account builders, I think. So focus on thinking every morning, why am I sitting in front of my computer and why am I doing this? I'm doing it to build an account. How am I going to build an account?
I think that's a great and a great point that Steven brought up. I think it's the first time is
that I've ever brought up a great point.
Yeah, pretty much. But why are you there each day? I mean, yeah, sure you want to get rich over time, but I think you've got to show up and say, I want to learn. I want to get a little bit better. I want to make a good trade. I want to end the day making decisions that I said I would make. That's why I rant about the trade plan. Is sticking to that is what gives me satisfaction at the end of the day, that I did what I said I would do, and that's what I think he's talking about.
And going back to the original question, so I made a conscious decision that I said, look, I'm here to build my account. And like, I love drinking. I'm drinking right now. And I love drinking and trading. It's like the funnest thing ever. And if you haven't done it, I fully recommend it. Right? But
keep in mind, Steven and I are not registered financial advisors.
But like, for me, like, I had to come to a decision where I said, if you drink and trade and you don't take it seriously, you're just going to lose. So do you want to be a losing trader that enjoys it? Or do you want to be a trader that takes it seriously and it's less fun, but you're going to make it because you've got the knowledge?
That's a yep.
And I came to the decision, which perfectly answers this question, of I need to be a trader that is going to have less entertainment and fun, but I'm going to treat it as a profession. And then I thought, well, how am I going to do that? And then I started printing out like 10 rules based on a podcast that's coming out soon. It's like, and the 10 rules are like, 1, I will always stick to my plan. Now, in fact, 1 is I will never drink and trade. 1 is like, I will never drink and trade, and I don't. I've stopped doing it. It sounds like, oh, he's not an alcoholic anymore. It's like, it's not to say. 2 is like, I will never flip-flop on a trade. Like, do you know when you go long, so you go short, and then you go long again, and then you've lost $500? I don't want to do that anymore. That shit's not for me. He hates flip-flops. It's a different story. Will not tell us flip-flop, sorry. But like, so I will never, ever, ever trade drunk. I will never flip-flop on a stock. I will never trade more than a few setups, because if you try and trade more than a few and you've only got a few years in the game and you're not a genius, you're going to lose. I will always try and stick to my plan, and I will always take trades that are good risk reward. So and that's another good point. So it's like if support's here and resistance is here, and I'm a short, I thought you were like mimicking, like
no, my neck itched.
We're like extending the ball. I was like, I will support near the resistance line, so I'm risking 2%. And if it goes down 2%, I'm not taking those profits. Losers do that. Losers take gains too quickly, and the lot the runners run too long.
And losers take 1-to-1 risk trades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm taking 6-to-1, or I'm taking nothing.
Yep.
Or 3-to-1, or I'm taking nothing. And I have these set rules, and with time, and the final thing is with discipline. When you guys are traders, you'll learn.
He gets amnesty on that one because the question was about discipline.
I'm not doing that. But like with discipline, like a lot of you guys will be like, I've just got shit discipline. But what you've got to find is that like discipline is like, do you know the like color palettes when you turn the color palettes out and it slowly goes from like an orange to a green to a yellow and stuff like that? Is that just the worst analogy ever? How do you guys get it? All right, it's a color palette.
Go with it.
All right, you'll find that your discipline will never go from bad to good, but it will slowly move around that palette eventually. So all you have to do is, if I make 30 mistakes one month, next month I need to make 29. And the next month I need to make 28. Or if I lost $5,000 this month, I don't want to lose $5,000 ever again because I'll have to go leave Dubai. But if I lose $5,000, like I don't even want to lose more than 1,000, so I'll lose 1,000. And then I want to lose 500. And then I want to start doing 2-to-1 risk rewards where I risk 500 for 1,500. And right now, some of the guys might have taught you through some technicals. I'll tell you my battle with discipline. I hope you can learn from it, and I hope it's a good story shared.
Yep. Next question. Oh, this guy right here.
I'm way better at these drunk.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much better at everything now.
All right, so we spoke about discipline. I want to know what you do, and you as well, Tim. What do you do when you are consistently profitable and you need to humble yourself so that you don't get cocky and make a mistake?
I think the biggest thing is, I'm a big proponent of the daily process and just being repetitive, do the same stuff every day. And it's cliched, but, that kind of, when you score a touchdown, act like you've been there before. Exactly. You're here to make money. It's not about being cool. It's not about being a badass. It's not about bragging on Twitter or whatever. This is a profession. This is something you are showing up to do, to take seriously, to create the life you want. This isn't a game. This isn't being cool. This isn't gunslinging. None of that. And when I make a green trade that follows my plan, that's what I was supposed to do. That's your job. Just like if you file a report at some shit job, I mean, you don't brag to everybody about filing that report. That's your job. That's what you showed up to do.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that trading is there's a weird conundrum with trading.
It shouldn't be. You should drink every time I interrupt you, but it shouldn't be. It's not about thrills.
I've only got one more. I'll do it at the end.
Stephen talked about that. He was going to the market for thrills. He was busy as hell. He was in a dark place. He was a little bummed out. So he's going to the market for thrills. Why go to the market for thrills? I go to that market to take some fucking money. That's why I show up every day. So.
Just that. Any other questions? Or can I go to bed?
Oh!
I've got Tim Grattoni after this.
Hi. Kind of similar to what the gentleman before me asked, but some days are better than others. So in those days where it's tougher for you to get up, you're lacking that motivation, what do you do to...
Don't trade.
You don't trade?
No. I mean, if you're sick, you're tired, your kids are a pain in the ass, whatever it is, if you can't go in focused with the right mindset, don't trade, because it's like Steven showing up drunk. Bad things happen, okay? And maybe maybe a lot of your days are worse than other days. I mean, we all have different lives, but if you can't be focused, if you're thinking about whatever, your boyfriend being a jerk, your girlfriend being a jerk, you didn't get sleep, you didn't eat, you're hungover like this guy 6 days a week, you gotta be ready and prepared, or don't trade. Bad stuff happens.
There's a saying that says the market will always give you what you want.
Yep. Well said.
And if you want to be pissed off and then enter the stock market, you'll get a pissed off result. If you're feeling like really solid and good and you're like, I want to be an account builder, then you'll build an account.
And you got to be focused, you got to be prepared, you got to be dialed into your process. And if you can't do that, and you can't come in with a good mindset, then you shouldn't be trading, and you should be working on fixing those things outside of trading that are not putting you in that. If you're overworked, you're overstressed, whatever that is, focus on fixing those things before you put thousands of dollars on the line in very volatile stocks, because you'll get what you wanted.
And that's the experience that I've had. Like when I got burnt out with work, I was like, I'll just turn to alcohol and it'll make it better. Or I'll just turn to not caring about as much of the market, and all I got is bad results. And the minute that I started running, started cutting down work, thinking I don't need to do this, I want to put trading a priority here instead of here, that's when the losses came down. That's when the month started to switch from red to green.
Got it.
Good question.
Thank you.
Hi. I know, Tim, a lot of times you talk about working with stocks that are a little bit higher, like the 5 to 20 range. What setups do you like there, and what do you see as your edge there?
Man, especially last couple of years, what I look for, and remember, email support at StocksToTrade. You'll have my swing trade worksheet. They'll send that to you in a PDF. But just to keep it simple, I'm looking for stocks that are not necessarily in a hot sector, but are in an interesting sector. I think about like AI or, not necessarily biotechs because they're so volatile, but even blockchain stuff or even the cannabis stuff, but stuff that's like in interesting, growing sectors, electric cars, stuff like this. Stocks that have had recent good earnings. Now that could be last quarter, it could be last week, whenever earnings were. Remember, earnings winner is a confusing term, but they're at least making money. So I got a $15 stock that's in an interesting sector. They're making money. The stock has been uptrending for a while. It's at or near 52-week highs. And then now it's Money Monday, it's Tuesday, stock has some sort of news. That's the type of stock that I look to swing trade over multiple days. Check all of those boxes as you can. Doesn't mean they all work, but AMRN was a great example. AMRN, gapped up 300%, I think, on Monday or Tuesday, but they had good news on their magical fish oil pills, but they were up big, held all week. It's a $17 stock. It was green every day, traded like 150 million shares one day. It's at 52-week highs. Stock holds all day, gaps up every day last week, and then after hours, Friday night, it gapped up like another $3. That's exactly, so it went from 13 to like 18 in 4 days. That's a 50% gain in 4 days on a stock that isn't some sketchy OTC, like IGC that's located in a house with daycare equipment in the front yard.
I think very good answer, but just what I would add is look at StocksToTrade Pro. It's an underutilized resource. It's still quite new. I think you'd get a lot of benefit from it. Bowen does an excellent job morning and evening, and you'll really pick up a lot of the swings in the evening on the 52-week highs.
Yeah, that's
where they are morning.
And it's simple. You're running those 52-week scans. You're looking for stocks that at or around 52s, and then you start drilling down through that news, earnings, interesting sector, etc. So,
any others, or can I go to bed?
One more. Give us one more. We got one more, and then I think it's either Gattani or Good next. Oh, Jesus!
I've got a special request. I think we'll do
that sounded bad. I think someone.
My question is, for a new trader, how do you use the VWAP?
So for me, I don't really care what VWAP is. I know what it is, volume weighted average price, but it's really just a bullish and a bearish indicator. And I think as a new trader, you look at it late day. You don't really care what it's doing early in the morning, because remember, VWAP is the volume weighted average price across the day. So I love to look at stocks up big on the day. They've held VWAP all day, and then they're trending into the close. Now, vice versa, if you're bearish, VWAP is really a bullish bearish indicator. Doesn't mean anything. It's all magical gobbledygook. Basically, same stuff between Steven's ears. But we know that traders, we know that algos, I know a lot of day traders out there. I know it's on all their screens, everybody but Sykes, basically. But so you know that everybody's staring at it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm bullish these days. I got all these things, hot stock, tomorrow. I'll tell you what, if ACBFF is above VWAP at 2 p.m. tomorrow, and there isn't bad news or something, that's a potential buy for sure. So I use it as a confirming indicator that shows me that this stock is still bullish late day.
And I've just got one more selfish request. It's a little bit selfish. And I'm just going to be personal with you guys right now.
Oh, no.
Just want to tell the truth about some things. Been on this podcast for a while. Been on YouTube for a while. Part of it, as my mission, is just to find the right girl. So, if I can just find one girl to kiss, then that maybe I'm a little bit drunk, but if I can find one girl to kiss, I'll do it. Oh wait,
yeah,
I've got it. Ready? One, two,
three.
Oh! Oh, my boy's all grown up.
I've done it, I've won. I've done it, I've won.
All right, thanks a lot, everyone. I think that's it. You got to chug that beer to finish. I appreciate it, everyone. I get the show of hands. I love that all of you guys are listening to SteadyTrade. We love doing it. Steven and I have a blast. I like the lipstick, man. It looks good on you.
Hi, this is Aaron, aka Double A Ron from New York City, and I like to go outside and find a stray dog, preferably an aggressive breed like a pit bull or a Rottweiler. Then I get real close, stare it down eye to eye until it starts to chase me. Then I run. That's right, I run while listening to Steven and Tim on the SteadyTrade podcast. You can register to win real, actual prizes at their website, SteadyTrade.com. And if you really like what you hear, give the podcast a 5-star rating and write a glowing review on iTunes. I did, and this is how we say goodbye in New York City.